sports, man. Let's get into this NFL wild card weekend. I didn't do what I learned. I just kind of jumped into the show. But here's one
Yeah.
thing I did learn as we jump into these divisional matchups. I don't need 7 teams in the playoffs. Like these games outside of the Dallas and 49ers game, outside of the Oakland or Las Vegas, excuse me, and Cincinnati game were trash. They weren't good. They weren't competitive. Number 7 seeds. Here's a stat for you. Number 7 seeds in the 2 years since they've opened it up to 7 teams, they're 0-4. They have an average margin of defeat of 13 points a game. The only competitive game was the Bills and the Colts last year. The Bills won by 3. Other than that, double-digit wins for the 2 seeds in every other matchup. I don't. It's made for worse matchups. It's made for worse football.
Yeah.
And football on Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday. I watched maybe 10 minutes of the Rams and Cardinals. Once Kyler threw the pick six, I said, oh, nah. I done spent all day doing football and other stuff. It's family time now. I'm done with this game and I'm moving on. I don't
Yeah.
need 7 teams. Um, but let's start with we'll start with the hometown squad first matchup. We'll start with the Bills coming in the Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs Sunday night. You put up a tweet, you and Benny the Butcher. You said
What up,
barbecue
what up, Benny?
versus
We out here,
barbecue
man.
barbecue versus wings.
Wings.
What is it? Is it retweet for the Chiefs, likes for Benny, right for the Bills?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I should have did retweets for Buffalo because then Benny would have retweeted it. It probably would have popped off a lot more. I wasn't thinking right.
So I'll get your thoughts on this matchup. Like, what do you think about this matchup and who you got?
It's a tough matchup, man. I'm not. My confidence meter is like at a 6. Like something like that. Man, Buffalo has just. I mean, they've been playing well. They they're talented on both sides of the ball. They have a quarterback that's been playing very well. Yeah, it's just going to be a very tough matchup. It's not going to be the Steelers, and it's not going to be the Broncos. What's the last tough matchup that the Chiefs really had? Let's see. Well, you're muted. You're muted now. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to think of the last tough matchup.
Chargers game that went into overtime.
Okay, the Chargers
That's the
game.
last tough. That's the last tough matchup they had.
Even then, that's not even a playoff team, right? But I mean, it was a tough matchup though. So
So I think you got to give a little extra credit to divisional rivals. The Chargers
yeah,
always play them tough. They went to overtime last year
yeah.
in San Diego. I think that might have been it was either to open the season or it was within the first 3 games of the season. So they always play them tough. Um, oh, Bengals. Yeah, shout out to Wes. Wes
Yeah,
took the
there you
Bengals.
go.
I was there, and they ended up losing that game,
And then
30
the
to
blue,
27.
yeah,
That play call is going to annoy me for
yeah,
the rest of my life. Going zero look on
yeah.
3rd and 27. But
It's our
yes,
4th and 22. Wasn't it 4th and 22? The Eagles. Was it the Eagles?
Freddie
Yeah. So
Mitchell, Fred
yeah,
X,
Freddie Mitchell.
Fred
Yeah,
X.
it's it was our 4th and 22. But yeah. So hopefully everybody's locked in because like let's be honest, the first quarter of that game and then turnover, for the touchdown or whatever. Like
Hmm.
you have a quarter like that against the Bills, it becomes the quarter Kyler Murray had against the Rams. It doesn't become 7-0 with 10 minutes going in the second quarter. It becomes down 14, down. You know what I mean? Like that type of game. I definitely got the Chiefs winning it. They're a 1.5 favorite, smallest spread for a Patrick Mahomes led Chiefs team at home ever. Um, I definitely think the Chiefs will win. I think it's gonna be a war. I really do.
Yeah, so I just went to your page and I put in my vote on who's going to win the game. I
No,
wish we were record. Don't give it away yet. Don't give it away yet.
I got my
So
do not disturb and I'm using my phone, so I can't even go look.
all right, bet it up, bet it up. So I wish we were recording this on Friday because I'm still kind of wrestling with my decision. I do think the Chiefs obviously they faced this adversity early on in the season. They were able to bounce back in a big way. Like they were looking like are they even going to like they were going to be fighting for the wild card, right? When they
Yeah,
were 3-4, last in the division, they win 7 in a row. Should have beat Cincinnati, 3rd and 27. But they lose that game. They end up having to squeak out the game against Denver. And I'll relay this story. So we're watching the game, right? We're all watching the game at where is that at? The Broncos game. We watched that.
Fox and Hound? Fox and Hound.
Fox and Hound. So we're
Yeah.
watching it at Fox and Hound. Denver's driving the ball down three. They're right around like the 7, 8 yard line. I look at Los. I say, man, they could really use the Melvin Gordon who fumbles near the goal line right now. Like they this is about their only hope. Next play, fumble,
Yeah.
scoop and score, Nick Bolton, and they end up winning that game. So they dominate Pittsburgh again, 7 seed who shouldn't have been in the playoffs. And I am going with the Bills. I'm going with the Bills to win this game. I have not picked Kansas City to lose a playoff game since the Tennessee game of years back when Marcus Mariota has the pass that gets batted in the air, catches
Yeah.
it, runs it in for a touchdown, right? But I think that the Bills have built a team specifically to combat on defense, to combat what the Chiefs do well on offense. Maybe the Chiefs have learned from that loss back in week 3 and they're able to change some things around. But I just think that defensively, they built the defense that can handle them. And I think offensively, my concern with the Chiefs on the defensive side is that when they have faced a top QB that has all his weapons, right? Dak didn't have Amari Cooper. He was out for COVID-19 when they faced him earlier in the season. He
Mm-hmm.
was without, I think he might have been down Tyron Smith or one of his offensive linemen at the same time. When they face a team that is with a top QB that's relatively healthy, Justin Herbert ate both times, right? He had really good games. Lamar Jackson had really good games. Um, Josh Allen went off. Joe Burrow went off. When you put them against top competition this year, it has not gone well for their defense. And that concerns me. The fact that they had lost to every team that won the division that hadn't beaten them. They played them all, they lost to them all. And I just don't think that the Chiefs are going to be able to pull it off this time at home. Um,
Yeah, I think Willie Gay, if he plays or not, is actually going to be a pretty big loss. You know, with what came out today with him being arrested. So Devin Singletary has actually came down the stretch over the last 4 games has actually turned into a very quality back with how they're using him. So I think tackling in open space on check downs and just him not being able to get past that second level was going to be key in tackling from Bolton, Gay, and some of the other guys. So I think that's a very key to watch, if Willie Gay plays or not. So
I know they said they expect that situation to be resolved. I think they said he did like $250 worth of damage.
yeah, just pay a fine
Um,
and be done. Yeah.
Pay your fine, be done with it. I doubt there'll be any discipline. I would presume if discipline does happen from the league, it'll happen after the season because normally the wheels move slow on this thing. They're going to want to talk to both of them. And the NFL is just, I mean, they can be really slow. So
Yeah.
I
Yep.
do think obviously now in the Chiefs' favor, they didn't have Willie Gay in that game. I think Ward was out. I don't think Chris Jones played in that game. Like
Yeah.
they were missing, and there was no Melvin Ingram, right? So they have all of these guys
Yeah.
who were not on defense
Totally different
before.
defense.
They'll be there for this game, and maybe that's the difference. Listen, Chiefs fans, when I clip this down and I play this, do not jump in my mentions. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I get I that you guys win. I hope it's a comfortable win. But that's just how I see it. I call it as I see it. And like I said, haven't picked the loss since that Tennessee game 3, 4 years ago, and I would love to be wrong again on that one. So
All right. I
y'all let
got
us know
Chiefs.
what y'all think. Let us know what y'all think about that, man. Let's jump into this next matchup. Let's stay in the AFC. Let's get into Tennessee versus Cincinnati. Who you got?
I got Tennessee. I got this as a classic. We've been here before type game. I think Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I mean, it could be the Patrick Mahomes that came in and was like, yeah, you might have been here, but guess what? I'm going to the Super Bowl this year. You know what I mean? Like he obtains that. Especially with the players he has around him too.
hmm
But I think Tennessee is the perfect team to just with Derrick Henry back to grind it out, to limit the possessions on the other side of the ball, to Mike Vrabel, coach defense to like I don't know. I just feel like that in the playoffs, like this is one of those games that I think comes down to like we've been here before, we know what to do, we're going to get the job done. So I'm taking the Titans.
Yeah, I'm also rolling with the Titans, not because of the offense, but because of the defense. I think that defensively, they are a team that has invested into their D line, and I think they're able to get pressure without having to blitz. And if Joe Burrow's line, like the Chiefs, the thing that's so frustrating about the Chiefs and them losing that game and sending that blitz on that 3rd and 27 is that they didn't need to.
No,
They were
we just
getting
had a sack.
consistent.
Literally, they were in that position because we didn't blitz, and then there was a sack. I'm pretty sure, just based off pressure. Yeah,
They were getting consistent pressure with Chris Jones was a monster in that game.
Mhm.
They were getting consistent pressure without having to send extra bodies. There was no need to do it. But if you look at what the Titans have, Jeffrey Simmons, Danico Autry, Harold Landry the third coming off the edge, like they Bud Dupree, they have four guys who can win one-on-one matchups and make life miserable uh, for Joe Burrow. And then in the secondary, Kevin Byard, I don't know if he ended up being an all-pro, but he is an all pro caliber free safety. So I got Tennessee winning that game, like I said, because of the defense, not necessarily because of the offense. However, if Joe Burrow is able to get off in that game and make plays, so the Tennessee Titans offense is basically, hey, we have a tank. Would you like to tackle it 25 times?
Yeah,
Right? Like there's no finesse to it. It is just brute force and strength. We also
and
have two.
they're not a team that plays from behind either.
They're not.
So,
And so if
and,
if
and,
you
and
can
the Bengals are a team that can get up on
they can get up on you and they're similar to the Chiefs in that they can erase leads
you.
fairly quickly, right? The second half against Kansas City was up double digits and
Hmm.
they were able to get stops and they were able to score whether it would be touchdown or field goals. And I don't know, man. Like I just think that that D line is going to make life tough for Burrow, but if Burrow can get hot, if he can hit Jamar Chase, who is a beast, man, it could be a good game
That's the closest game for me out of all four. This is the if I
though.
had to say which one to me was the closest, it's going to be this one.
Okay, okay, that's what's up. So let's jump into the NFC. We'll start with my guys. We'll jump into hold on, hello Ethan. Let me just get this out the way. What's up, Ethan? What's up?
What's up, Ethan?
Uh so let's jump into this next game. Let's get into we'll go to the NFC and we'll get into my guys, my squad, the Niners versus the Packers going on to Green Bay on Saturday night. Speaking of not being able to watch Cody, like I'm going to be at Wicked, so I would not be watching this game, or at least I won't be
Oh,
able to see it in its entirety. Scheduling, right?
yeah,
Like I didn't know this was going to happen. So I didn't
hilarious.
expect them to win. I didn't expect them to make the playoffs, to be honest, just because of the quarterback play. But um I'll let you start because I got a few things to say. Hopefully it won't turn into a rant, but I'll let you start. Who you got in this game?
Yeah, I got the Packers. I got the Packers by 10. I got the Packers by double digits. I do. I just don't see, like you said, it comes down to quarterback play. And I think if we're looking at quarterback play in the playoffs, Jimmy Garoppolo is just not a guy to me that's going to get it done. Man, they have such good weapons. I really like Elijah Mitchell. I like Debo Samuel as a dog. If they can find creative ways to get these guys the ball without Garoppolo having to like hit them downfield, which they do. They do a good job of finding ways to get on the ball with quick screens and reverses and wide receivers running the ball out of the backfield. Um, Man, there's a chance, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening. I think Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, the Packers. He's on his way home, Ethan. He's coming. I'll stop talking soon. All right. Welcome to the podcast that keeps dads at work. But yes, I definitely got the Packers. I got the Packers by 10. Hey, if Garoppolo's hurt and has to come out of the game, and Lance can give him a spark or something, or there's something there that maybe the Packers haven't scouted for or something, maybe something like that happens, man. But I just don't see it. So
So I have the Packers, but I think it'll be a close game.
mm,
I went back and watched like the highlights of the meeting they met in week 3, and I just for some reason in my memory I had the Packers blowing them out, but
it was
that
close.
was no, they kicked the game-winning field goal. Like the Niners took the lead with 37 seconds left. Rodgers took them down, kicked the field goal to win the game.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me. Um, so I think it'll be close. I think looking at some kind of advanced metrics, the Packers' run defense has been really poor the latter half of the season. The Niners, I talked about how the Tennessee Titans are like, hey, I have a tank. Would you like to tackle it 25 times? The Niners are super creative. They're going to send people in motion. They're going to use probably the most dangerous offensive weapon in the league. I don't think that's unfair to say in Debo Samuel in the ways that they use
Yeah,
him out of the backfield and as a receiver. Elijah Mitchell, the rookie, has been really good. And with all things 49ers, the last 3 years is all going to come down to Jimmy Garoppolo. And let me say this, Jimmy, if If you were too hurt, because the excuse was in the second half, well, he had the shoulder sprain, and that's why he was so bad in the second half. If you're going to stink it up that bad, then you need to have a seat.
Yeah.
Like don't jeopardize the season trying to grit it out and be a hero. I respect it. I respect it. But you, when you're healthy, are a liability. So when you're hurt, you are a super liability. So like don't try to be a hero in this game. Have a seat. It'll be okay. Either we lose on whether or not Trey Lance can make plays or not. That's fine. But I just think that at home, Packers, they might get Zadarius Smith back. Jair Alexander might be back. Two of their better defenders. I just think it's going to be enough. I am hoping against hope to be wrong. I hope when I step out of wicket for intermission or at the end of the at the end of it that I'll see that my team has emerged victorious. But yeah, I think the Packers are going to win it. They're the number one seed for a reason.
Yeah.
But I am hoping against hope that here's my fear as a Niners fan with Kyle Shanahan, and we can move on to the next game. My fear with Kyle Shanahan is that no matter what that he is so conservative that it will keep him from winning when it matters, right? So there were opportunities for him to go for it on fourth down against Dallas to put the game away, to put it out of reach, to sustain drives, and he chose not to go for it. But on fourth down, fourth and a literal inch, you're sending your left tackle in motion like he's a tight end. Just line up, let your 6'3", 6'4" quarterback fall forward an inch and end the game. Because if the Dallas Cowboys somehow make an incredible play that stops you on fourth and an inch, then you just got to shake their hand and say, "Hey, y'all were the better man on that particular play." That's my issue with Kyle is that he will sometimes be too smart for his own good, and when he needs to just simply go for it, he'll chicken out. Or when it's time to go for it, like listen, the play worked, but third and 11, running a reverse with Debo, like it worked, but it's just like, bro, that's a risky play when you're trying
Yeah.
to run out the clock and keep possession of the ball. Um, so again, it's just like I feel like he takes risks when he shouldn't, and when he should be risky, he's just like, nah, I'm good, I'm good. So I mean, that's how I feel about that game.
One name we haven't mentioned that I think is probably the X factor of this game, George Kittle. Like, get the man the ball. Like, he's a top 3 tight end in the NFL. You know what I mean? And we talk about everybody but him, and guys like Mark Andrews and guys like Travis Kelsey, Darren Waller, and George Kittle can win you playoff games. They can
Facts.
get you 10 catches for 117 yards. They can create space to where people, I mean, if you're having to worry about Debo here or Ayuk here or Jawan here, and you have the middle seams wide open and different things in the middle of the field open, like George Kittle can be that guy. So I think he's probably a big X factor.
So the problem with that is that excuse me, is that Jimmy Garoppolo only throws the ball in the middle of the field. So like when he tries to throw outside the numbers, he misses Brandon Ayuk when he's wide open and
Oh,
there's
yeah.
nobody around him. Right? He overthrows on the run. He overthrows Trent Sherfield that ends up with the easy intercept. Like if you look at his passing chart, that's all he does is middle of the field. He doesn't go outside the numbers. And so obviously defenses know that, but they run the ball so effectively that they're able to mitigate that inability to throw deep and outside the numbers. So
Gotcha. All right,
all
Rams
right.
Bucks.
Rams Bucks. I'm gonna lead off on this one, man. Like I got the Rams with winning this game. I
Mm-hmm.
get it. It's Tom Brady. It's a home game for Tampa, but I think the Rams already beat the Bucks once this year, right? I believe that was the case, and that was without OBJ, no Von Miller. Now you've added those pieces to the mix. Um, they're as healthy as they're going to be. I know Andrew Whitworth is maybe questionable. He might not play. I know Taylor Rapp, their rookie safety, is not playing as well. I think he's already been ruled out. But they're relatively healthy, and I just think that trusting Matt Stafford for me has not been has been an up and down experience for me this year. I'll put it like that. But I think that Matt Stafford is going to get his second playoff win ever, and I think they're going to go into Tampa and get the W. How you feel about it?
I think earlier on this week I had the Rams. I think I put a tweet out where I had the Rams. I hope I didn't, because if I did, I don't know what I was thinking. It wasn't until yesterday when I was looking at everything and I was just like, no. There's one thing you don't do in life is don't bet against Brady in the playoffs. And then I'm looking at who is playing against Brady, Matt Stafford, who on those plays that you're like, oh, Brady just became Brady. Those plays you're watching during the playoffs, and you're like, that's Brady.
Yep.
Well, those plays for Stafford are turnovers. When you're like, yeah, Stafford just became Stafford. You know what I mean? And it's like in the playoffs and in times like this is when those things happen. And so I'm like, I don't bet against Brady in the playoffs, and I just feel like Stafford with the last couple games he had in the regular season and just whatever. I'm like, yo, you haven't been doing this. I mean, he was an MVP type caliber quarterback, I think, for the first maybe half of the season. People were like looking at him as like
Mhm.
numbers wise, and then it's just like,
Facts.
oh no, we failed to remember that, yo. So I could just see the memes now, like where it's just kind of like, Stafford taking off his Rams uniform, and then there just being a Lions uniform underneath it or whatever. Like as they lose, and he throws like two interceptions. Or so I'm going Bucks.
Okay. Okay. I think to me, like the X factor in this game is going to be, can the Rams run the ball against the Bucks defense? The Bucks are one of the stingiest defenses around when it comes to not allowing teams to be effective running the football. I mean, the Eagles were, I believe, a top five, if not the top rushing offense in the league, and they shut it down. Jalen Hurts' inefficiency and his wide receivers' inconsistency kind of doomed them in that game. Plays where they were open, Jalen missed them. When he did hit them, they weren't expecting the ball or they dropped passes. And so that honestly, that game probably is a little closer if those two things could have been squared up. So
Yep.
yeah, I got the Rams. I think this is their time. I think they're all in, right? I think that's been kind of their motto once they started making trades for OBJ and for Von Miller. So I think they're all in, and I think they make it to the NFC Championship game. Now, I would love
The
nothing
Bucks are
more
banged up.
than
The Bucks are banged up too, so
this
I
is true.
understand. But I think they get David back. If I'm not mistaken, I think they get David back this weekend.
I thought he
Uh,
played. He didn't play last weekend.
oh, did he? If he did, I was in New York, so I don't know if he played last weekend or not. But maybe he's getting healthy or whatever. But there's a few things. So, but yeah, I can't bet against Brady.
I hear you. I hear you. I get tired of people saying that, so I really want him to go home because I'm just tired
I
of
do
Brady.
too. I don't like him.
I respect him. I respect him, but that's about it. If I ever met him in person, I would be cordial. Have a great. It'd be great to meet him, talk to him, have a conversation, all that. I'll say this. I do love his little petty videos after he beats a team where he's playing the music from that city, where it's just like he's playing Meek Mill's "Dreams and Nightmares" intro after he beats Philly. He's playing Chief Keef's. I think it was Love Sosa after
Yeah.
they beat Chicago. So I do respect the pettiness of Brady. I can rock with that, but I'm ready for you to go home, my boy. Like it's enough's enough. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of
You
it.
saw the stat that he's older than all three of the coaches that he's playing against, or the NFC. The NFC, yeah,
Respect, we're respected. Like that's amazing to me. Especially I'm gonna say so. I'm gonna let me just jump to this real quick, and we can talk about the transfer portal. We can get out of here. It's amazing to me when you look at what Brady is doing in a physical sport like football. Granted, he's not a running back, a receiver, or a lineman that's getting hit on every play, right? But the fact that he's like, I think George Blanda might have played till he was 50. But George Blanda was not putting up Brady like numbers, even
yeah.
for the era that he was in. Russell Westbrook, I'm the Russell Westbrook apologist. I've been a Russell Westbrook stan and
How did
fan
he
for a
make his
long
way into
time
this? How did he make his way into this episode?
because I have to have this little monologue about Russ because the homie Marcus hit me up. He goes, "What's wrong with him?" And I'm like, "Look, man, LeBron James is a physical specimen and a physical freak, and he is the only guy I've seen who's been able to play basketball this long at this high level. And even with him, there's some signs of slippage, right? You're starting to see some effect of, hey, he is human. He does age. He is getting older. Russell Westbrook has been a high caliber athlete, a high top 10 to 25 basketball player for probably about 10 years now. And that or 2017 MVP season was likely his peak because it has only gone downhill from there. The shooting has gotten just a little bit worse. The turnovers have become a little bit higher. The lapses on defense have become a little bit like it's just all progressively gotten a little bit worse, and it is reaching a crescendo because he's on a glamorous team on a top five, or no, actually probably the most watched team in the league because of LeBron James, and it's all falling apart in front of the world to see. I'm sick of seeing the memes of him, hitting the side of the backboard on bank shot attempts, not finishing at the rim. You're seeing a guy who is a supreme athlete, and the athleticism is leaving him, and he's not able to do what he once was. I hope against hope that somehow, I hope every night when I check the box score or when I tune in, that something has changed. And sometimes some nights are better than others, but mostly it has been a depressing season as the Lakers are right at 500, below 500. Frank Vogel's probably getting fired within the next week. Russ may or may not be traded by the deadline. I don't know. But again, I will ride with my guy to the end of the line. It's always
Okay,
Brody.
so everybody listen. He said all that to say this. Tom Brady
I
has
said
not
all that.
done
Tom
what.
Brady. I said all that to say, right? Tom Brady is a marvel. It is what he is doing is to be respected. It is to be acknowledged, admired, celebrated. But I'm sick of it,
So
and I want him to.
I'm gonna hold off on the transfer portal talk until the next show, and I'm gonna end with this because we're talking about LeBron and how for some way he's in all of his years still playing his best. Brady is 44 and playing his best. And I'll go a different route that we don't normally go on the show. But Alex Ovechkin is in his 17th year in the
Mm,
hockey and leads the NHL in goals, and I think just passed is on his way to passing up Jaromir Jagr for fifth all time. And like when you want to talk about like a quarterback might not got hit all the time, or a basketball player like 17 years playing hockey, getting slammed up, all constantly. Like when I watched the stat earlier, it's like wow, he leads them in goals played. He's playing some of his best hockey of all time right now. 17 years in. Shout out to Alex Ovechkin. I know they're playing the Bruins tonight, who are like the worst in the league. So I think he needs like just maybe like 8 or 9 goals or something until he passes up Jaromir Jagr, and he needs about 100 to pass up Wayne Gretzky. So I don't know. I never really paid
wow.
too much attention to NHL hockey, but I think maybe you average like maybe 40 goals a year or something like that. I don't know, maybe something around that. It's like a,
I
it's
have
like
to
a
look that
great
up.
it's a great number. So I wonder he'd probably have to play in the like year 20 to meet to get to Gretzky's numbers. But yeah,
Yo, like, first of all, I just looked up Alex Ovechkin, his bio, and like Tom Brady is cheating. Like Alex Ovechkin has gray hairs everywhere. He's only 36. Brady's 44, and like not a gray in sight. Tom, I know you're using the just for men. You and Coach K, you're using the just for
nah, but
men.
Brady he don't have no facial hair neither though, right? So he just.
You can't trust men without facial hair. I'm just putting that out there now.
I
But yo,
appreciate you,
man,
man.
yes, sir. Y'all let us know what y'all think about that, man. Hit us up at Brains and Bars on Facebook, IG, Twitter, and maybe TikTok if I decide to create one day.
Go home,
Let
see Ethan, create a TikTok with Ethan. You'll be good.
you know what? Yeah, I don't think Ethan wants me on TikTok. All his TikToks, he is on TikTok. And so like I follow him just to make sure ain't nothing crazy going on and check out his channel from time to time. And so like all his videos do not involve me. So I'm gonna ask
Okay.
him like can I be in his TikTok videos and see if he'll make one with me?
There you go. There you go. You're gonna go viral.
Yo, Yo, so we thank y'all for tuning in. We'll get this episode loaded on YouTube and on all podcast platforms. Please, once again, follow us on all social media at Brains and Bars. I am A Ward for everything A Ward related.
Yep.
February 25th,
Six.
Wartown, 26th,
Six. Yep.
26th, Wartown, you versus Don Marino. Shout out to Clone and his league. Yeah, it's going down in about a month or so. So
Mhm.
until next time, man, it's been a black
And white.
thing, man. We'll holler at y'all. We'll see. I'll try to get my setup going and we can see if we can jump back in and talk about this divisional matchups and preview the NFC, AFC title games, talk
Definitely.
about the transfer portal and get into some other stuff. So until next time, man, y'all be easy.
Peace.